Aloha and welcome to Restaurants Hawaii. I am your host, Sheryl Matsuoka, the Executive Director of Hawaii Restaurant Association here on ThinkTech Hawaii. And today we are having a great conversation. And as Hawaii's businesses are still dealing with staffing shortages, and the restaurant community is no exception. We're all looking for employees, and according to research done by the National Restaurant Association, half of the restaurant operators believe that recruiting and retaining employees will be their biggest challenge through the rest of this year and perhaps through next year. So today we're having a great conversation on another resource for our restaurants, the American Job Center. And I'd like to bring on Mark. Hey, Mark. Mark Menard, who is the Business Services Coordinator at American Job Center. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
Great. Do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Great. Yes, thank you. First of all, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate you folks highlighting the American Job Center. The American Job Center, basically what we do is we try to match up job seekers with employers. That's our main mission here. What I specifically do is I work with the various businesses to try to make that connection. So, we offer the resource in trying to connect job seekers with the businesses, but also, for the businesses, we do other services, and we'll get into this a little bit, I think, in our conversation, such as, job fairs, helping businesses, advertise for their open positions, and really trying to recruit, the best possible candidates.
Thank you. Well, my husband and I always have this conversation is where are all the employees? And I just pulled up the Census Bureau statistics of the Hawaii population that has been declining the last few years. So with our population declining, that even gives us a smaller pool of employees that are potential employees for our restaurants. So if our population is declining and it says 0.7% or 10,358 less people from the previous years, and we can see a constant decline, Oahu's population was actually the highest in this report, while Hawaii Island and Kauai Island, their population of residents increased. But on Oahu, our population went down. So the American Job Center, their resource and what services they provide is so wonderful. I mean, it's just for any business, we're not even specific to restaurants today, but any business that's looking for employees, the American Job Center is on Oahu, in Hilo, Maui, and Kauai. So, Mark, let's first talk about the services that you provide businesses. And one of the services I want to touch upon is the HireNetHawaii.com. Can you share a little bit of how HireNetHawaii.com works?
Sure. So HireNet Hawaii is a site where um, we have a database of people who are they're registered into that website. So anybody who is actually applying for unemployment is required to register into HireNet Hawaii. They're required to give all their personal information and then also a resume. It also is a website where businesses can also register in the system, and then they can go ahead and post for open positions that they have. And also, what it does, it allows them to actually find appropriate candidates by searching for different job skills and skill sets that they might have.
That's great, Mark. And what we were talking about earlier, Mark and I, was like a lot of businesses forget that this is a resource for them, where they not only can post, but they also can search candidates. And we were discussing how even the American Job Center does hiring events. Mark, you want to share a little bit about how a business could contact you about doing a hiring event?
Sure. So in the past, we've done your typical hiring events where we have several businesses come, and we've had up to 30 businesses come, and we've used we're located actually at the Dole Cannery. So if people are familiar, there's the Dole Theaters, and then there's the Pomokai Ballroom. So last year we had our biggest event that we had was during the pandemic, and it was one of the only in-person um, hiring events that we had. Um, So we've done those traditionally. There are other places that do similar job hiring events, job fairs. But what we really want to focus on is on the individual businesses themselves. So recently we've taken the approach of actually working one-on-one with businesses and to have hiring events for that specific business. So we've done, for example, we've done it with Zippies. We've done it with some vendors out in the airport. We are actually going to have a hiring event this coming Friday from 9 o'clock to one o'clock with it's a specific hiring event for Waihata. And so what we want to do is we want to work really build that relationship, that one-on-one relationship with the business, so that we're able to help. One is to understand what their need is, and who what kind of employee that they're looking for, and then with the help of the business, help promote that business, get the word out that hey, we're having a hiring event. These are the types of individuals that we're looking for. Come on down to the American Job Center, right, where you can meet the staff there and actually apply for those positions. So that's really the thing that we're focusing on, is that one-on-one relationship with the business, again, so that we have a really good understanding of what their need is.
Very good, Mark. And everyone's burning question is going to be, what is the fee to have American Job Center assist them with a job fair at their business?
Yeah, so the great news is that we're a free service. So anybody who comes to visit us and needs our assistance in any way, there is absolutely no cost to them, no out-of-pocket cost whatsoever.
And that's going to be music to the business's ears. We need resources. And the reason we're having this conversation today is because, like I said earlier, many businesses may have forgotten that American Job Center is a great resource. And even if there's a person out there who knows a potential employee, a candidate, somebody who's looking for a position, they also provide lots of services for those people. So this would be our businesses and restaurants pool of candidates. And how the American Job Center helps them is by all these resources. So Mark, let's start off at the very top, which is, you all have different services that you provide people who are looking to get back into gainful employment. So we can start off with should we start with the youth services?
Sure. Um, you know, Cheryl, as you were mentioning, the the current situation out there with the job situation is, we have all these people who are unemployed, right? And then we have all these businesses who are looking for positions. So ideally, or technically, that equation should work, right? You have people looking for jobs, you have employers hiring. So that should work. Unfortunately, what we've seen, not only here in Hawaii but also nationwide, is businesses really struggling to find employees, right? And we're no different. And we hear the same story from across all business sectors. We call people and they don't show up for interviews, or they might show up for the interview but they don't show up for their first day. We even had a business tell us that we onboarded them. They were ready to start as a full-fledged employee for the first day, and they just never showed up. So there's many different challenges, and one thing I think that we do advise businesses on is that because of the situation that we're in, we really need to look at other employment pools, and to see where else can you hunt for potential employees. And so one of those areas are our youth population. So one of the programs that we have here is our youth services program, the Work Hawaii Youth Services. We primarily are helping young people who, for whatever reason, haven't been able to, finish high school and get their diploma. So we offer them an opportunity to get their high school equivalency, their GED. But it's not only just the academic component that we focus on. We really want to lay out a career path for the young person. So along with getting their GED, we do work-based learning workshops. We offer occupational trainings. Um, In the youth services, we actually offer four tracks. One is in construction, one is in customer service, healthcare, and then office administration technology. And so those young people are able to choose from one of those occupational industries, obtain a certificate, a credential. We're partnered with our local community colleges to have instructors come in. And then with a construction component, actually, we're partnered with BIA, which is a pre-apprenticeship. So after they go through this training, they're able to come away with a credential, which is something that is really valuable when you're putting on a resume. And then once they've gone through an occupational training, then we can also offer them a work experience. So we pair them up with a job site where they can practice those soft skills that we teach here in the classroom, and then to actually get some hands-on experience, right, for that first job, for them to have something to put on a resume, also to have some good references, which is really important, as we all know. And that's also an opportunity for businesses to partner with us. We're always looking for new job sites as work experience sites. And it's also a great way to potentially get a great candidate for a position. Because what can happen a lot of times is they'll come on board as a work experience participant, and then at the end of their training, since they're now they've been with you for a while and they kind of know the ropes, and you've gotten a chance to see them, see if they're a good fit for you or not. At the end of their training, if you have an open position, it'd be a great way for you to fill in those spots.
And we spoke about earlier is also the skill assessment survey that helps them identify. So you want to cover that a little bit?
So on hiring at Hawaii, there's different um, things on there on HireNet that an employer can use, and also a potential employee. So when they're registering for unemployment, there is skills assessments that are on HireNet Hawaii, which will kind of test you on your abilities, or not really your abilities, but your what are your what is your skill set, and what is your aptitude, right? So it'll take you through a battery of tests, and then at the end it'll kind of give you a job. Hey, based on your answers, you might be right a good fit for, and it'll give you a list of different industries and different types of jobs.
And
So
I think
it's just a great tool to try to figure out what your potential path might
And I think that's so valuable to know where your strengths are, because what you may be interested in and you find out your strength, it could be a whole area that you didn't realize. Another resource that the American Job Center also has is free use of laptops. And Mark, do you want to cover that a little bit? Only because what I heard was when schools, wrapped up in school's done right now, it's their summer break. Many of the students don't have access to laptops
be.
if they don't already own one in their home. So, for them to even search for a job, or even if they wanted to update a resume. By the way, everyone listening, if you do know of a candidate that is looking for a position, we don't require resumes. If you know of somebody, just have them reach out to me at info@hawaiirestaurant.org, and we try to fit the candidate in their area where they live, because many of them even need to use public transportation. So I'm pretty sure that in every neighborhood there's a restaurant nearby. So we always try to fit the candidate with that community that they live in. So you want to touch a little bit about the laptop use?
Sure. So at the American Job Center, we have a resource center, which is, again, it's open to the public, free of charge. Anybody can come in and use them. And we have laptop stations. We have currently, I believe, 13 laptop stations where anybody who, if they're looking to go online and let's say go on Indeed or one of these other job search engines, they're able to come in and do job search, register for HireNet. We have staff here to help them with that. If they're looking to apply for a job, let's say that most right applications right now are online. So if a person doesn't have to be a young person, it could be anybody, right? A lot of people may not have access to these resources, can come in and then use our equipment to do that application, fill out those applications. Um, and the other great thing about our resource center is not only do we offer these laptops and equipment, but if people are if they're not too sure about their resume, or they're not too sure about going on an interview, and they want to maybe brush up on some interviewing skills. Maybe it's been a while since they've been on an interview. We have staff here who are fully prepared to help them with that. We have workshops that we do, to help people. Again, if it's with the resume, we go over the different types of resume. How do you really want to tailor a resume to the job, right? You don't just want to have a generic resume that you put out there. And then for interviewing, right? If you want to go through some interviewing skills, we have staff here that we do a workshop to kind of go over those, maybe some of those typical questions. How do you answer? Tell me a little bit about yourself, which is sounds like an easy question, but it can be very difficult, right? Sometimes if you don't know what to say. So we with that, the free resources that we have there with the laptops, we also have that one-on-one resource.
And let's also share about the access to translators. Mark, you speak which language?
I'm fluent in Japanese.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed because I am full Japanese and I don't speak the language, but you do have access to translators. So for those of you who are employers, and English is your second language, or if you're looking for new employment and English is not your first language, they have access to translators at the American Job Center. Correct, Mark?
Yes, we have resources available to us where we can find people who can help us with either it can be over the phone. A lot of times it is over the phone translation. But if somebody wants to come in person, as long as they give us a little bit of lead time, we're able to find people that can come in and help us with translation services. And it's all about partnerships too. We use other resources with our different business partners that might have access to people who speak other languages. I know, Cheryl, that you have a wide variety of people who speak different languages with all the different restaurants and ethnic restaurants. So you're a great partner always.
Yes, yes, I do. So every single language you can imagine, including all the South Pacific Islands, we have every language we can translate at the Hawaii Restaurant Association. And then there's another pool of candidates if they are not aware of the American Job Centers. Hey, Mark, let's talk about individuals that have disabilities.
Sure. As I kind of touched upon before, really going out there and looking at those different, let's say, non-traditional employment pools. Um, and what youth was one that I mentioned. Persons with disabilities is another. You know, when the word disability comes up, unfortunately, we're all human, so we have these unconscious biases, right? So when we hear that word, the immediate thing I think a lot of people might think of is, oh well, what is the accommodation that I might have to make, or is it something that I'm even able to make for an individual? But a lot of these people who are looking for that first job, or just an opportunity, can be your best candidates, because they're really looking for that chance, that opportunity to work, right? So they tend to be the most loyal, the most hardworking. So it's a great talent pool to kind of find, right, somebody specific for your open position.
You're so true. In one of my restaurants, we had a very loyal person. That person came to work on time every day. It didn't matter when it raining, storming, that person showed up. And that person worked in the kitchen and um, was very dependable and reliable. And sometimes, like as you mentioned, right, as long as we understand what their needs are, we can all work together because we're all human, as you mentioned. So
Absolutely.
yes, that's a huge pool that I think too, it would be a great pool to tap into. The other pool, Mark, that we discussed is senior citizens.
Mhm. Yep. So we have our youth on one end, and then we also have our senior citizens on the other. So we see a lot of individuals who come in who maybe have been retired for a little bit, and are looking to maybe start maybe not so much a full-time second career, but something part-time to kind of fill in the time. But we also do have some senior citizens who are coming in who are looking to maybe start something new, try something new. So there's different programs that we have where we can provide services. One is called a CSEP program where they place the individual in a work site where they get paid the stipend. And so again, they're able to report to work, and for those who are again looking to maybe fill in some time, that some spare time, it's a way for them to earn some income. The other service that we provide and is across, not just for seniors, but for everybody, is also for trainings, right? As long as they meet our eligibility requirements, there's literally hundreds of different kinds of trainings that we can provide for. Again, with our partnerships with the community colleges and other training providers. Anything from meat cutter to get your CNA, to your CDL if you're looking to drive a truck, right? There's literally hundreds of different kinds of trainings that we're able to support. And we can provide tuition up to $4,000 actually, for you to get certified or get credentialed in some of these trainings.
And for me, when I speak to the seniors that are looking to get back into the workforce, if anything the pandemic taught us is, the isolation. It's so lonely, and that they need that social interaction. So, I told them, at the seniors that I was speaking to, which is actually, my classmates who are all retired, and they say, even a hostess or a host, or even, being social again would be so welcome for them. So again, that's another employment pool that we need to think about and to tap into. The other pool that we want to discuss also is our homeless population, Mark.
Right. So we do also have people who are experiencing homelessness. So we also do provide services to help those who are looking to get housing. So along with that housing piece, though, goes hand in hand is employment, because part of the eligibility requirements in order for them to be able to help them with rent and finding a place to live is to be employed, right? So it goes hand in hand in what we do here at the American Job Center. Um, so those are also a pool of people who are really looking for an opportunity, right? And I think that goes across the board when we're talking about the our 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 typical clients that we see that are coming in are really people who are looking for jobs, right? They're not just people who, and unfortunately, I think a lot of businesses might experience this, is that when people apply for positions, a lot of times they're just kind of going through the motions, right? Because that it's a requirement that unemployment, right? That you look for a job or at least 3 jobs per week. So a lot of times, and we get this story a lot from all the businesses, that we get these resumes and inquiries, but we call and call, we don't get a call back. So unfortunately, I think that might be the case where people are just kind of going through the motions. But the people who are actually coming in and using our resources and coming to seek assistance with us are actual people who are looking for jobs. So they're people who are, they're ready to work. They're wanting to work. And that's where we can really, I think, try to match up, appropriate candidates with positions, is because the people who are coming in to see us and who are talking to us are people who are actually looking for jobs.
Thank you, Mark. And I'm getting the 5-minute warning. Is there anything else that you want to close with? Any message out there? Do you want to give them your phone number to your office, an email address before we wrap this up?
Sure. I would say, I said it a little bit earlier. It's really about relationships. And Cheryl, you know this more than anybody, I think, right? It's all about the relationships that you form with not only your customers, right, but with your internal customers, your external customers. The partnerships that you have with training providers, Likewise, with those organizations like ours. So, I really would like to just put the word out there that we're always looking forward for new partnerships, and any way that we can help. Again, help a business with finding that right employee, or even with other services. There's a lot of other things that we do here at the American Job Center to help businesses with, for example, when we're talking about business that might, let's say that they need to do a layoff, or if they're going to be closing, right? We have what we call rapid response services, where we can help those employees try to transition maybe into some of those trainings that we're talking about, or maybe into another job, help them with the hiring process, or the unemployment registration process. Um, the job fairs is the other thing that I was talking about. Or even, for example, if businesses are having trouble, let's say with, let's say a small business is having trouble with their accounting, their practices, right? Maybe a lot of small businesses, can't afford, to hire somebody to keep the books. There are ways that we can help through that rapid response. It's called layoff aversion, is to maybe help that business, call in a consultant and maybe get them trained in the right ways to do their accounting, so that their business is stronger, right? So it's not only things that we talked about today, but there are definitely other ways that we can help businesses, and there's probably ways that we haven't even talked or even thought about, right? And it's about having that conversation and building those relationships and finding those new ways to help. That I think is really our strong point, is because we have individuals here that are willing to make those connections.
And you've been a great partner to the Hawaii Restaurant Association, Mark. Thank you always for reaching out to me and inviting us to all these opportunities where we can find employees. So we appreciate all of the support that American Job Center and Mark, you're doing. So in closing, everyone, again, there's so many resources out there. American Job Center is a great resource for all of the restaurants and businesses to find employees as we struggle right now with the lack of employees. And again, if you have any questions, please give me a call or email me at info@hawaiirestaurant.org. Again, I'm Sheryl Matsuoka, the Executive Director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association, the voice of Hawaii's restaurant and food service industry. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for watching ThinkTech Hawaii. If you like what we do, please like us and click the subscribe button on YouTube and the follow button on Vimeo. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and donate to us at thinktechhawaii.com. Mahalo.